This is Pastor Jerry Maynard of Cathedral of Praise, and welcome to Soul Success here in 2025. I'm so excited about this year and what God's going to be doing in our life, but I want to talk to you about a prophetic word, a word that was given to me by God, and that is from 2025 to 2030, we're going to see a resurgence of marriage in America. That's right. There's going to be a recognition of the true value of marriage, and we're going to have a resurgence in the number of marriages here in America. You know the facts that over the last 10 to 20 years, we've had a decline in marriage for whatever reason, whether it be political, economic, institutional racism, whatever it may be. There's been a decline in marriage. And in fact, there's been studies done that women are now starting to opt out of, quote, marriage and saying, I'll just go it alone. I'll get my own life together, do my thing, and I'll do it myself. Generations, men have been bachelors for a long time, but they may have families, women may have families, men may have families, but they chose not to get married. Now, for those of you who have no desire to get married, this message is not for you. If you're like me, I'll be transparent, I'm single. However, if you are someone who wants to be married, that you're looking towards it, or you're someone that you've said to yourself, I've heard from my friends, I've heard from family members, I've seen people get divorced, I saw my family get divorced, I don't think that marriage is for me, then this message is for you. Oftentimes, we let artificial standards and artificial barriers keep us from getting married to the mate, the soulmate that God wants for you. I want to start with men first. Men, how many times have we created these artificial standards and said, if I'm going to get married, she has to be this, she has to do this, she has to do this, she has to do those. Those artificial standards sometimes become artificial barriers because, yeah, you want somebody who can cook and clean, but you want somebody who has the right spirit. You want somebody who has a right praying spirit. You want somebody who has a loving spirit. You want somebody who will look out for you and make sure that their husband is whole, is doing the best that they can do, and they can support you in all that you do, and that they're praying for you. I'm not talking about prayer like we do in church. I'm talking about praying like in the household, like lifting you up and saying, I need my husband to be all that he can be. That's the important things. But when you have artificial standards, I'll talk about it, like Instagram. I want to tell you, man, that is just a bunch of women with makeup and stuff. And I know that they're there, but you cannot make your standard according to just looks. For men, we are eye creatures. We love what we see. I get that. But you have to begin to look at women's soul to see who's appropriate for you. And I guarantee you, when you do that, your life can be sweeter. I know that for me, that when I was married, I was very highly productive. But some things happened in my life that we didn't work it out. But I also understand that when I'm single and I'm handling everything, I have nobody to cover for me, no accountability to, no one looking out for me, someone making sure that I'm good. There's a price to pay. And so I understand that marriage is not perfect all the time, but there is a perfect purpose for marriage. May not be perfect, but there's a purpose. Women, a lot of times women, you all have artificial standards. He got to be some certain height. He's got to make a certain amount of money. He's got to do this. He's got to do those. Those things can create an artificial barrier to marriage. We have to open up our eyes to see the soul of people. We have to open up our eyes to see whether they are not good, like good artificially, but do they have a good love, a good presence, a good heart? Is our heart good? Are they filled with malice and hate? You have to look beyond a man's income and beyond a man's height and beyond a man's look to literally say, how can I get to know whether this man is suitable for me in all of my things that I'm dealing with, all the things that I've got going on, and look beyond the artificial standards that can create artificial barriers. I believe from 2025 to 2030 that men and women are opening their eyes and saying, I will no longer look at artificial standards and artificial barriers that will keep me from marriage. And example of that is, yes, maybe grandma and grandpa got divorced, but that doesn't mean you're going to get divorced. I don't believe in generational curses. Yeah, your friends may be saying, hey, this didn't work out, that didn't work out. That's your friends. You need to start talking to the marriages that are still successful, the marriages that are still alive, the marriages that are still loving. Anybody can look at a marriage that failed, but we can also look at examples of marriages that are thriving. And so I say to you today that between 2025 and 2030, I know God spoke to me that we're going to have a resurgence and recognition of marriage. Don't give up hope. I'm telling you right now, for those of you who want to get married, for those of you who are thinking about getting married, but you're like, oh, I can't get married because of these things or what I heard or what I had in the past happen to me. I say right now, let's look beyond that and let's have a resurgence of our heart to say, no, I'm going to do what I know I can do. And that is what? Stop looking at the reasons to say no and start looking at the reasons to say yes to life, to love, to peace, to joy, to soul success. Be blessed.